Hi, my fellow friends. Happy Diwali to all my viewers. Welcome to the program Careers Connect, a DPS alumni presentation. I'm Neelam Bedi Sond, a certified trainer by profession and an HR consultant. I have a working presence in Delhi and Dubai, and I'm into industry from last 20 years. In the competitive world of today, there are a variety of career options that are overwhelming and even confusing. We on Career Connect, in an initiative of DPS Alumni Network, which aims to help students to make a marked choice by interacting with top-notch professionals globally who have made utmost efforts and underwent lots of trials and tribulations, the sacrifice, and finally the net result of their career decision, even if made is a different time, circumstance, and environment. Now I invite the brainchild of this program, Mr. Rajiv Soni, to say a few words.
Namaskar. Thank you, Neelam. Career Connect took birth in 2014 when, in a premier school in the Delhi NCR, we were able to request 20 professionals from different different professions, including 4 from overseas who were beamed in via the internet, met 600 students in an auditorium, and shared, their journeys with groups of 20s of the students. So today, by virtue of the fact that we have so many platforms where we can get professionals from across the globe, we are trying to get close to 500 professionals in 500 different professions to come and share their journeys. And today, I think in episode 6, we have Dr. Fuad Mallick, the first one from overseas. He's from Bangladesh, from the 1976 batch of DPS Mathura Road. That's my batch also, and he's a dear friend. We're very happy to have Dr. Fuad Mallick with us today. So with those few words, I hand the mic back to Neelamji.
Today we have a special guest, Dr. Fuad Mallick from Bangladesh. It's indeed a pleasure, sir, to have you on board.
Okay. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a great pleasure to come back to my old school friends.
Okay. Let me give a little brief about Dr. Fuad. Now, he is an energetic, passionate, charismatic, self-disciplined person and architect by training, and is currently the Dean of School of Architecture and Design for BRAC University in Dhaka, under which the Department of Architecture and the Postgraduate Program in Disaster Management, PPDM. Welcome, sir, on board today.
Thank you very much.
Okay, my first question to you is that, so could you please tell us your success story after you left the school?
Well, I mean, if you term it a success, I don't think it's a great success. Well, I came back to my country, Bangladesh, and then I went on to study architecture, which I finished in 1983. I worked for a while, then I got a scholarship to go abroad to get a master's degree, which I did, came back in 87 with the full intention of starting a practice. But things got in the way, and when there was a vacancy for a teaching position at my own alma mater, I applied. Now you may ask why, because I come from a academic family. Everybody is teaching. So I was sort of pushed into that area. And then there was no turning back. And then I started in 88. That's 32 years now. And in between, I went again abroad to London to get a PhD, came back. Then I quit my job at where I was teaching, my alma mater, and I went abroad for a while, came back, and BRAC University asked me to start its architecture program, and which I readily accepted, because BRAC, by the way, BRAC is an NGO. It's the largest NGO in the world.
Okay.
It works in poverty alleviation, women's empowerment, and that was something that I was interested in. So I started the School of Architecture and tried to shape it around, apart from mainstream architecture, into people, towards people-centric architecture. And then I was asked to start a postgraduate program in disaster management. I started, and here I am, 20 years later.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, tell me, Ford, what was your age when you took to this profession of architecture?
When I started studying architecture,
Yeah,
yes, I was just 18. I
18.
was
My
18.
God, that early an age. And you passed
Yes,
out within 4 years, right? It's a
five.
program?
Architecture is 5 years
It's a
here.
5 years.
5 years.
Okay. So, tell me, Hassan, that you chose this career at a time when this career was not very much popular. So, what made you choose? That's one. And secondly, what was your initial struggles in this profession?
Well, why you're right. Actually, it's not a very well-known or popular profession. And in Bangladesh, when I studied, there was only when I got in, there were 35 seats
Yeah.
in only one architecture school, and there were about 1,000 applicants.
Oh my God.
Why I did that was because architecture has a special place in Bangladesh. You see, the building in my background is the
Hmm.
National Parliament building designed by the famous American architect Louis Kahn. So we
Correct.
always had an architectural inclination. And when I grew up, when I was a boy, when I grew up in a university campus which was being built, and it was
Okay.
by a very famous Bangladeshi architect. So I watched the work and sort of got into me, right? And I like good buildings, including the hostel I stayed in DPS, the Himalaya Hall, which I thought was a nice building.
Very
And
well
then,
done. I remember the Himalaya Hall. Very, very
yes,
well done. Yes. A good piece
yes,
of
it's
architecture. Yes.
a good piece of
Yeah.
architecture. And there was Asia
Correct.
72 when I saw the buildings and I liked it. And so when it was time for me to go to university, I said, okay, I go to architecture. So I applied for architecture and engineering as well.
Okay.
And a couple of other things along the way, but I qualified in both, and I chose architecture just like that. I didn't, I must say, didn't give it a very serious thought. But architecture is not real studies. You don't study books all the time. You draw and all that. So that
Yeah. It's
appealed to
very
me.
creative. Very creative.
Yes, yes, appealed to
Hmm.
me. That's how I got in and I finished.
And imaginative also. This
Yes,
career, you need to have the imagination and the creative skills. Very, very important.
it's
And the
very important.
drawing also is one of the major, areas
It's
in
very
this.
important.
Yes.
To be creative, think out of the box, that kind of
Okay.
stuff.
Yes. Okay. Tell me, Hassan, what exams did you have to take to qualify? And uh, do, do do you think the same protocol is followed till date, or there's a change in the decorum?
Well, in order to get into architecture, because architecture is a special subject, as you said, needs creative ability, needs ability to able to draw and to visualize. So architecture students are usually tested to see whether they have those qualities before they go into
Correct.
uh,
Correct.
the, the
Okay.
the subject. So I went through an admission test process, and it is true in any architecture department anywhere in the world. They have some kind of screening to test your abilities in drawing, in visual, actually mainly visualization. And in some schools in the US or in UK, they have a look at your portfolio. You see what a portfolio is: stuff that you've done, creative stuff that you've done. So in Bangladesh, or perhaps even in India, when we were in school, there was no portfolio business. I mean, we didn't like preserve stuff that we had. So there was no portfolio, so we went for an exam. So it's a selective process. You get selected through some. And I tell you, if you don't have imagine, I mean,
Imagination.
visualization abilities and sketching, drawing abilities, you shouldn't go into architecture.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd
That's,
be
I
wrong.
think, very, very important. For
Yes.
tell me something, that did you ever think, at such a young age, impressionable age of 18, you went into this career. So initially, did you feel that, a change of mind?
Well, not really. I sort of liked it. and I'm a very easygoing person. I don't, not very serious in studies. It was kind of a smooth sailing. I saw that I was doing well in spite of not working very hard. So I said it's fine. But at that time of our lives, there were a lot of my friends, a lot of friends going abroad for education, United States, for example. So I
Correct.
dabbled into it for a while and gave it up. Went on. Um, but I didn't think of going anywhere else because it was good.
Ah,
And the big
correct.
thing was for me, I mean, it was not a lot of studying books. It was only drawing and design. So that helped me because I was never good at studying books.
So, Fuad, how did the doctor degree come into your life? The degree of a,
PhD,
yeah,
you mean a
doctor.
PhD? Yeah,
PhD.
well, I did pretty well in my exams in architecture. I was
Wow.
pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Wow.
did pretty well. So then when the chance came there was a invitation for applications for what is called a Commonwealth scholarship given by
Okay.
the Commonwealth. So I applied for it and I got it. So I went for a master's to the UK. All
Okay.
right, that was in '85, and I did that in 2 years. At that point of time, I didn't want to study anymore because I wanted to practice.
Okay.
And also, yeah, at that time in the UK or in Europe, there were a lot of jobs. I mean, architecture was booming at that time, but I didn't apply for any. I came straight back home and actually
Yeah.
started to practice. I started to practice, and then soon afterwards, there was this advertisement for applying for a teaching position at my university where I studied. And as I said, my family is very academic. My father was a professor. My three brother-in-laws are all professors. My sister is and all sorts of stuff. So I was sort of pushed into it, and I got the job. I got the job, and then of course, once I got the job, once you're in academics, when you're in the field of academics, teaching and research and all that, you don't go very far if you don't have a PhD. All right. So very luckily for me, an opportunity came up again. There was a scholarship offered by the British Council, I think, for a PhD program at the Architectural Association in London, which is a very famous school, very
Yes.
famous, the oldest, one of the
Correct.
oldest schools of architecture
Correct.
in the
Correct.
world,
Correct.
1857. So I
Correct.
grabbed it. I grabbed it and I went there. And then actually I went there without a clue what I'm going to do. All right.
Oh my God.
But soon things fell into place, and I got into a topic which was good for me because it involved a lot of empirical data and number crunching, which I like, which is I like it because it's fact. So I did that, and there I was. I finished in 3 years and a week.
My
I came
God.
back to my teaching position.
Wow.
In the
No,
meanwhile, I wrote
I
a
was,
couple of papers.
yeah, that is what I was thinking. Such a brilliant career in London. And then you switch on to teaching, leave London, go back to Bangladesh. I mean, that's like a big switch off, from one glamour world into a simplicity. What made you do that?
Well, I mean, the teaching architecture in Bangladesh is also quite glamorous. It's
Oh,
also quite glamorous. And I
okay.
was teaching at the engineering university, which is the premier university in Bangladesh, really top notch. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that had a certain kind of appeal. Yeah, I was
But
about.
I'm sure that there is something which some strings of loyalty that dragged you into Bangladesh. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
You
think
may
so.
call it patriotism, or you may call it an obligation. When I was doing my PhD in between, I was just one day sitting around, and then thinking that let's try to figure out how much money has been spent in making me who I am. All right. Or my undergraduate education was free,
Beautiful.
before which was this DPS where my parents had to pay, but undergraduate education was free. Not only was it free, I got a scholarship as well.
Wow.
My master's degree was also free because I got a scholarship because I was Bangladeshi. I got it because I was Bangladeshi. My PhD was also free because I got a scholarship because I was Bangladeshi.
My God.
I sat down with a piece of paper and calculated, and I
My
came up with the figure of 56 lakh taka was
wow.
the amount that had been spent on me to be what I am. And
Wow.
I thought I should repay it. All right. I thought I should repay it. So I came back, and I think I've repaid it a couple of times over by now.
Brilliant. I think that this kind of a insight very few people have. I must tell you, for I mean, I tell you, I mean, impeccable. I would rate you to be really super human being. I would say that.
Thank you. You're very kind, Nilamji.
Okay, tell me, what will you ever recommend this career to all the students?
Which career? Architecture or
Architecture,
academics?
yes.
Yeah, yes, I would. I would recommend, but with some words of caution. You have to have creative abilities. You have to have visualization skills. All right. Now, of course, visualization skills are very much nowadays taken over by computers. All right. Even then, in your mind, you know what you want to
Yeah,
visualize.
what you want to build.
You
Yes,
have to, yeah, you have to, and you have to have a passion. You have to love the subject. It's not
correct,
just any subject. You have to
correct,
be really involved deep in it.
correct,
All right.
correct.
And you should not suffer from the illusion that if you had been a good student in school, what do you call it, honor student, gown holder, blah blah, and a good, good grades, does not necessarily mean you will be a good architecture student.
Correct.
So
Correct.
don't be disillusioned by good grades in school to make you a good architecture student.
Yeah.
Creative abilities and a passion and a deep involvement for life is necessary. Also the ability to deal with frustrations every now and then.
Correct. Correct.
You have to deal with frustration.
Ford, how lucrative is this profession? Because I've seen people not getting very good jobs after they finish their this thing. It is how lucrative it is.
It is lucrative in the sense that if you do your work, you do your design, and if you do it well, you get a lot of satisfaction. There is not much money in it. All right.
Hmm.
A lot of people suffer from a lot of frustrations in architecture when they see that the stuff that they expected that they would do is not happening the way they thought it would, and many quit the profession. Many quit. They go away somewhere else. But um, you have to, in a couple of years after graduation, you decide what exactly you want to do in architecture. Do you want to be a designer of buildings? And that is success in that is not very easy. You have to be really good. Do you want to go into construction? You want to look at the construction side? Do you want to look at project management? Do you want to look at real estate? So you decide very early on which is your forte, and you take that path. So my advice would be that there are many parts of the profession, and you choose the one that you think will suit you best. If you don't think that you're going to succeed in design, which many people they want to be designers, don't pursue it too long. All right?
Brilliant.
Don't pursue it too
Yeah,
long.
that's a good piece of advice.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
and
the other, yeah, sorry.
what I can see a beautiful background. Could you
Yes,
explain us? Uh,
that's our National Parliament building,
ah,
designed by the famous American architect Louis Kahn, um,
beautiful.
and it is regarded as one of the 100 most, one of the 100 most important buildings of the 20th century in modern architecture.
It's
It's a
beautiful.
fascinating building. It's a fascinating
Beautiful.
building if you go into it. And I think
Beautiful.
that the fact that we have this building and this complex in Bangladesh inspired a lot of young kids to become architects.
Very nice. What you have, your major portions of career in research, teaching. What is your greatest accomplishment in this line? What do you think is the greatest one?
In my 32 years, I've had more than 3,000 students going through me,
Wow.
and that is my accomplishment.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
That is the best.
That's, I think, the best reward one can ever get
Yes,
in life.
yes, nothing more. And when my students are successful, they do good work, it makes me very happy.
Wow. Wow. So you are
I
a
have students all over the world, yeah,
wow.
all over.
So you are one of the best mentors, I would say, the best mentors.
I'm not sure, you should have asked my students that.
Okay, now there are certain myths would I like to ask you, whether they are correct or incorrect. Now, is practical training with the architectural firm in the final year of studies, it's of any use or not?
Absolutely essential.
Very essential.
Absolutely essential, because in architecture we do not teach a lot of things that happen in practice. We do not teach. And it's a complaint we receive from practicing architects. Hey, they don't know this, they don't know working drawing, they don't know estimation. So that is for them to learn in that internship. It's very important. Not only that, it's all very important to have practicing architects to come and teach in the design studios.
Oh,
It's
very
very
nice.
important.
Tell me, architecture is one of the toughest courses, being the toughest and the costliest, but still people going for it. Do you think it's worth it?
As I said, if you have passion, interest, and real devotion to it, then it's worth it. A lot of architecture students come to architecture knowing, knowing what they want, not knowing what they want. They have to know what they want, all right? So then these are the students who really know what they want to do, and they get into it, and even if it's expensive, it takes 5 years. It's okay.
Correct.
It's okay.
Even the salary
But
is
if you talk
also
from a
good.
financial point of view about making
Yes.
money,
Yes.
no, I don't think you're going to make a lot of money being an
So,
architect.
so you answer the next question. Okay, given the way, as of today, the COVID-19, what do you think this profession is going to boom?
Well, we're still not sure about what's going to happen with COVID-19, but things are going to change in the profession. Yeah. The way of practice is going to change. There's going to be a lot of work from home, I think, because some people are now comfortable with this working from home business. And in the way you design things also will probably change, because you need to think about social distancing and how you design your buildings um, for an epidemic. All right. For example, right after we are back into normal, and so normal, I wouldn't say normal, back, we are able to take stock of what we teach. We are going to introduce a course on epidemiology in
Oh,
architecture.
okay.
It's needed.
Okay.
It's needed with COVID-19. We're going to have a
Oh,
course in
wow.
epidemiology.
That's
It's very
nice.
important. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's good.
right now the projects our students are doing online, we make it a point that they have to do one component of their building, the design, to account for COVID-19 situation. So things are going to change the way I think.
So, what advice do you give to the youngsters and their parents regarding this profession? They should go in for it, or they should not go
Yeah,
in?
yeah. When you see, interestingly, when we have our first year students in, about halfway through the semester, we invite their parents. All right.
Oh, okay, good.
Invite their parents, because a lot of parents do not understand how architecture is studied or taught. So we have to come and tell them that, look, if you think that your son or daughter is not reading books, staying up late, drawing things, don't be worried. That is the study. You may not have studied like that, but that's the way you do it. So, and then you let your children get into architecture only if you're sure that they will be able to cope with the rigors of the education and the frustrations, and they have the ability to think creatively. Otherwise, don't put them here.
So certain traits and characteristics are required,
Of
for this.
course, yes. Well, creativity,
Yes.
ability to visualize,
Yes.
ability to analyze, synthesize, and a whole lot of subjects that you have to learn. So these things are very important, and also the ability to deal with frustration.
Beautiful, beautiful.
It happens sometimes.
So I think we come to the end of the program. I don't want to stop here, but still I would like to say something about you for after speaking to you.
By all means, yes.
A little appreciation package for you, please. The easiest building to design is a box, but architects don't design boxes. To sum up, for you today is to help teach the next generation. Your life has been to teach, share, show, demonstrate to others how to improve the world. A two-way street, look up, look back. So you have learned something in the process, and be reminded uh, why you joined this profession of an architect. So thank you very much for joining in and giving us such a wonderful information about
Thank you
architecture.
very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for inviting me.
Uh,
Have a good Diwali, all of you.
Yeah, happy Diwali
I
to
missed that.
you.
Yeah.
Happy Diwali. And now I open it for the audience, please. Ranbir, please introduce yourself. You're on mute. You're on mute. Please unmute yourself.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am Rajiv Bose from the 76 batch, and I've been a classmate of Fuad in class 8, I think.
Yes.
But I have a light question and a serious question. So let's do the serious one first. I've always wondered, is there any serious IPR and copyright matters in architecture? Because I find a lot of buildings made by architects which are very similar. With due respect to the building behind you, the Parliament building, I've seen buildings like that before. I don't know if it's the
You've seen buildings
same
like that
architect
after
or
that
is it
was
other
built.
architects. So is there any PR issues? Uh,
It's a
yeah, I mean,
very
I don't know which was first, but are there any IPR issues? Are any copyright issues in architecture? Anyone can copy the design or anything like that?
well, this is a very sensitive topic. I mean, architects do copy. There are architects who copy. There are no copyright things as such. All right, in a building, say, but it's an honor code. You don't do that, right? But people still do it. I mean, for example, the uh, the there's a hotel chain in the US. I don't remember. I think Marriott. I don't remember. There was an architect called John Portman who, in the early '70s, designed hotels with big atriums.
Yeah.
You go inside
Yes,
full height atriums,
we have a
and
lot of them now.
he tried to sort of get ownership of that idea. All right, but didn't work. You cannot, because anybody could do it. So it's a very dodgy area, and there are sometimes, there are cases where there are court cases, there are things like that about this copying of buildings. I don't know of any where there's a proper resolution was reached, because it's people do that. Yeah, it's true.
My second question, a very quick one. As a school building, how would you rate the DPS Mathura Road front facade? I mean, it was built
I
early
hate
60s.
to say this. I mean, I have an emotional attachment with it, but
Yeah, it's an early
architecturally
60s
not
building.
architecturally not. I wouldn't say, but the Mathura Road, DPS, RK Puram is good, and the Himalaya Hall is good.
Himalaya
Okay.
Hall is good, yes.
Yeah. Well, it's a 60s building. That's the way they did things at
Yeah.
that time. That's the way it is. But the emotions are more powerful.
Yeah, I know.
Rajiv, you have any question?
No, I don't have any questions, but since we have just 2 minutes left, I just want to thank Fuad. I'm very happy seeing him. I'm very happy seeing him so successful. I'm happy seeing him, inspire several thousand students. I can well
Yeah.
imagine that they must be doing really well, and I think that is probably his greatest accomplishment.
Yes.
I compliment him on that. I'm very happy that he's an alumnus of DPS Mathura Road. And with those few words, I hand the mic back to you, Neelam.
I have one question to ask Fuad, again, a small
Yeah.
one. 4 Aprils back, you threatened to come to India. I remember you sent me on Facebook, I'm coming next April. And I told my
Yeah, I
wife,
was supposed
yeah,
to
what
go to the
happened to that?
wedding of a daughter of a school friend, Ashish Bhutani, but that didn't happen.
Okay.
I will come to here. But first opportunity I get, I will come.
Oh,
I
wow.
will come.
It'll be a pleasure. It'll be a
It's
pleasure.
great.
When are
It's great
when are you
being in
coming? I
here
didn't hear.
because I'm here doing something for my old school. Now, you guys, you all live in Delhi. You've been to school. You pass it every day. You're there, and everybody's there. But imagine me. I left many years ago, and I have very strong ties with my school friends, including Ranbir Bose and Rajiv Soni, etc. I don't see them very often, so my emotion is more, I think, when I come back to my school.
Very nice. So with this, we come to the end of the program. Happy Diwali to you for it
Happy
was
Diwali,
nice.
Diwali
everyone.
to all of you.
For my
Thank you.
viewers, it has been a delight to have you on this program, Ford. Thank you
Thank
very
you so
much
much.
for coming. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you, Fuad Saab. Thank you, Ranbir.
Bye,
Bye
Fuad.
Neelam.
Bye.
bye.
Bye,
Okay.
Rajiv.
Bye bye. Bye
Okay.
bye.
Thanks
Bye.
a lot.
Thank you.